Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to be unboxing 3 Lattafa fragrances I recently picked up, including Chic Chayouk Khusoosi. So let's jump into it. Alright, so we are back with another unboxing first impressions video of 3 Lattafa fragrances that I recently picked up as part of a larger fragrance haul that I picked up from PerfumeOnline. Links are going to be down in the description to all these fragrances, as well as a coupon code. Save yourself $5 off your first purchase at PerfumeOnline if you decide you want to shop with them. Grabbed a whole bunch of Lattafas recently. I put out a video last weekend of 3 fairly hard to find Lattafa fragrances, and I got another 3 that pretty much nobody is talking about. I haven't heard much about these ones, so really excited about this. Let's quit screwing around. Let's get into it. All right, so first up, we're going with Lattafa's Rouette Ijal. Now you can scoop this up for $20 at PerfumeOnline, and I really don't know anything about this fragrance. First time I heard about this fragrance was when I was putting together a cart on PerfumeOnline and looking for some rare Lattafas, and here we are. So let's just jump into this, see what we're dealing with. All right, so there we have the box presentation for Lattafa's Rouette Ijal. Kind of a nice cardboard box, got these kind of metallic kind of ornaments or neat patterns on the side. It is got kind of a cutout right here, so I'm curious to see what's going on with it, but it's just a typical cardboard box. Let's get to the bottle. All right, so there we have the bottle presentation for Lattafa's Rouette Ijal. Nice looking bottle here. It's got these kind of gold embossed, same as the box, these kind of patterns on the side. It's kind of a nice touch. Nice, thick, heavy bottle. This has definitely got some weight to it. This is kind of a cheapy plastic. This isn't a metal on the side here. And the cap on this has a little bit of metal in it, and it is like kind of a plastic inside, so it's not a cheap feeling cap to it. And the atomizer on this, average atomizer, definitely get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right off the jump, just smelling this in the air from testing that atomizer, this has a very spicy, a little bit of floral, ambery style of fragrance accord going on to it right now. Kind of a unisex fragrance, but it's really got that kind of Middle Eastern vibe going on to it. So let's get this on paper, dig into it, see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so right off the jump, just smelling this off paper, very kind of fresh style of opening, but it's also mixing with some spices. So it's got a little bit of a pepperiness to it, a bit of a nose tickle that's going on. Some citrus, bergamot, kind of a tart citrus style going on right now, as well as a little bit of aromatics that are working through, a little hint of some florals that are trying to make their way through, a little touch of kind of some amber, a little bit of sweetness as well. It's a very Middle Eastern smelling fragrance at this point, very spicy, but it's kind of fresh and energizing at the same point. It's quite interesting. Yeah, as this is opening up a little bit more, those spices are coming forward a lot more, and there is those florals that are trying to kind of move their way through. It's like a jasmine that's there. There's almost a bit of a rosiness that's trying to work its way through, but it's more kind of a white floral that's got a really heavy dose of spices. Like I said, some pepper that's in there, a little bit of a warm spice like a nutmeg, maybe a cinnamon with just like a little touch of sweetness that's working its way through. Yeah, and that amber is really starting to pull, just really start to reach forward a lot more as this is starting to open up. There's a little bit of musk perhaps is coming through, but the amber is really starting to come through. You're really getting that ambery texture and that warmth that's coming through with those spices. So this is quite interesting. It's a nice fragrance. I'm just not sure if it's like my cup of tea necessarily, but let's skip to the dry down and we'll go from there. All right, so we are back with a dry down of Lattafa's Rouette Ijal. It's been about an hour, let this settle down, do its own thing. Not a whole lot has changed in this fragrance from that opening to the dry down. A little less of that kind of fresh, energizing opening with that bergamot style of citrus that was up there. That's obviously burned off, and we're just left with some nice woods, some spices, some of that kind of floral sweetness touch to it, a little bit of a rosiness to it. There's kind of a saffrony, oudi sort of vibe going on to it. A very typical kind of Lattafa backbone to this fragrance. So if you're familiar with a lot of Lattafa fragrances, this has that sort of backbone that you smell it once and you're just like, that's a Lattafa fragrance. So overall, nothing too mind-blowing or earth-shattering with this fragrance, to be quite honest. It smells very similar to a lot of Lattafa fragrances in terms of that similar backbone DNA. So not super thrilled with this one, but I'm not disappointed. And for 20 bucks, I've spent money on dumber things than that. So have to get this on skin, see how it kind of performs with my skin chemistry, but I don't see myself wearing this one too much. Like I said, nothing too exciting, but I'll have to keep you all posted. That's Lattafa's Rouette Ijal. All right, up next from Lattafa, we got Oud Sara. Something like that. Scooped this up for $21 at PerfumeOnline, and I have seen this one around. I've scrolled past this a handful of times. I have heard this is like a pretty intense, like dark, heavy, smoky style of fragrance. But let's find out, shall we? All right, so there we have the box presentation for Oud Sara. Typical cardboard box. Does have a little bit of kind of a neat design, some shimmering gold on there, and that is actually the bottle right there. So it does have a little peek hole for us to see the bottle, but let's get to the bottle, shall we? All right, so there we have the bottle presentation for Lattafa's Oud Sara. Kind of a nice bottle, actually. I do like this kind of round shape to it. Nice, thick, heavy glass. Has this kind of inlaid metal plate there with that design that's in there. And it does have this kind of like metal chain that's somehow attached there. I'm not sure how that's staying in place, but it is there, and it is a nice little added touch, so I do kind of like that. Cap on this has a little bit of weight. I'm not sure if it's coming from the chain or not, but it is, you know, a thick cap on that. It won't be easy to crush with my powerful hands. And the atomizer on this, ooh, that's a nice atomizer. Halfway across the room with that one. But what does this smell like? So right out the gate, just smelling this in the air from testing that atomizer, I'm already liking this one. This is not gonna be for everybody, but I'm enjoying this. It's a very leathery, heavy, dark, spicy style of fragrance. The leather in this has this kind of peanut accord that I pick up from some similar fragrances like Sha'ari that I have from Lattafa, a similar style of kind of peanut that kind of works its way through. That might sound silly, but that's just kind of the vibe I pick up from kind of like a heavier leather fragrance. So yeah, I'm liking this in the air so far. Let's get this on paper, see what we're dealing with. So this opening is actually quite interesting off the test strip compared to smelling this in the air. There is like some bergamot, there's some cardamom that's in there, and this cardamom, it has a little bit of a sweetness to it that's kind of nice, as well as some saffron, but you're still picking up that peanutty leather, a little bit of oud that's coming through the air right now. So it's kind of light and energizing at the top. It has some sweetness, a little, maybe some touches of florals that are in the mid that are kind of adding to a little bit of a softness and a gentle sweetness that's coming through, but I can feel this getting heavy second by second here. Yeah, like almost right away here as this is starting to open up, this is really starting to get dark fairly quick. So there's some oud coming through, there's that leather that's coming through, the spices are still there, so it has that little bit of saffron that's there, it has that cardamom that's in there as well, and it's got a little bit of a kind of a resinous sweetness that's starting to form here. So that initial sweetness I was getting from that opening is starting to get a little bit thicker, a little bit more of that balsamic sweetness is coming through, so it almost has a bit of a sweet, smoky sort of vibe working its way through, and there's also a bit of a woodiness that's coming through right now. So this is getting definitely heavier as the time goes on. Yeah, definitely getting warmer. There's some amber that's working its way through. There is a little bit kind of like a smoky moss, like a green smokiness that's starting to work its way into there, along with that kind of amber, leather, oud style of fragrance with those spices that's coming through. So this is a very bold, masculine, like I said, this is not going to be for everybody. And this might be a little even too much for me at this point, because this is quite heavy, spicy, aggressive style of fragrance right now. But let's let this settle down, see what it does, kind of work into itself a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're back with the dry down of Lattafa's Oud Sara. It's been about an hour, let this settle down, do its own thing. I really enjoy this fragrance, but I'm going to just say this right now, this is not going to be for everybody. Very dark, bold, masculine style of fragrance, and it all comes together really, really nice. It's got that kind of earthy smokiness to it. It's got that little touch of sweet, that dry texture to it, that leatheriness that's worked in there, and that kind of woody style of oud, and it's just absolutely bold, rugged, masculine, but it's just got this like air of mysteriousness to it at the same point that's, I'm fascinated by it, and I really enjoy that kind of scent profile. But like I said, not going to be for everybody. This is not going to be an everyday casual wear into the clubs kind of idea. This is going to be more of a personal scent, and you're not going to get many compliments with this one, I don't think. But if you're into that kind of scent profile, I do think you're going to enjoy this. We'll definitely do a full review once I can get this on skin. I think it's going to perform fairly well. This is pushing off the paper fairly well, so quite excited to get this on skin and test it out and do a full review for you guys. That's Lattafa's Oud Sara. All right, last, but hopefully not least, we got Lattafa's Khusoosi. Khusoosi. Not sure if that K is silent or not. Picked this up for 20 bucks at PerfumeOnline, and literally have not heard anything about this fragrance. I don't even think I've seen a single person talk about this. So let's jump into this. This could be breaking news. All right, there we have the box presentation for Lattafa's Khusoosi. Very straightforward cardboard box. not much to it. Let's get to the bottle. All right, so there we have the bottle presentation for Lattafa Khusoosi. I thought this looked a little bit familiar, and I just went and I looked in between the magic of editing here, and this is exact same bottle as the unboxing I did last week for Lattafa's Oud Sara. So they're cutting corners over at Lattafa using the same bottles here. So nothing too unique or special with that. Cap on this is a kind of a thick acrylic, but pretty lightweight. And the atomizer on this, decent atomizer, will get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right out the gate, just smelling this in the air, I'm a little deceived, to be quite honest, just based off the color of this juice. It's actually got kind of like a clean aromatic feel to it at this moment. There's a little bit of spice going on to it, but it's like a lot cleaner and fresher than I thought for this, again, for this color of juice. I was expecting something different, but let's get this on paper, dive into it. Yeah, very interesting. This has got this kind of like clean lavender and some pepper that's mixed in there. So that pepper just kind of accentuates that aromatic feel that lavender is coming across. A little bit of some like clary sage that's mixed in there a little bit, and there's some like some sweetness, like a bit of an ambroxan feel to this almost. This really threw me off, to be quite honest. Yeah, very clean, fresh, a little bit of spice that's mixed in there, has a touch of sweetness, a little bit of that kind of metallic tinge to it, a little bit like a sharpness, like a clean sharpness that's coming through with this one, and a little bit of kind of resinous sweetness that's working its way up as well. So it has like a little bit of a balsamic sweetness, but like a resiny, like a thickness to it as well. But it's very, like I said, it's very fresh and spicy, aromatic at this moment. But it's very light, airy, and fresh right now. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just kind of, I got tricked just based off the color of this juice. Yeah, and as this is opening up a little bit more, there is some amber that's starting to work its way through. So this is starting to warm up a little bit. It's getting kind of that ambery texture that you get, along with a little bit of that sweet warmth that comes from amber. So it is starting to kind of pull that freshness down just ever so slightly, so it's not as aromatic, and it's starting to kind of develop a little bit more character. So let's wait for this to dry down and see how it kind of develops, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're back with the dry down of Lattafa's Lattafa Khusoosi. It's been about an hour. I let this do its own thing. Not a whole lot's changed, but I am still absolutely blown away with like how fresh of a fragrance this is for the color. I've said this a million times, but still got that clean lavender, that aromatic clean lavender with that spice that's in there, the ambrox in there, giving a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a kind of a sharpness, or just more of an accentuation of those spices and that aromatic lavender. The amber that I was starting to pick up has settled down. It didn't come forward as much as I thought it would, but it's still very much there. It's adding a little bit of sweetness, adding a little bit of that kind of dry texture to it as well. It's just a really nice, enjoyable, clean, fresh style of fragrance that, you know, spring, summer, into the fall sort of fragrance it's really, really nice. This is like an easy to wear, dumb reach, you know, mass appealing style of fragrance that it was never on my radar. And for a Lattafa fragrance especially, like, you don't come across these very often, and I'm impressed, to say the least. So definitely gonna get this on skin. I'm gonna do this fairly soon here, because we're still in the summer at this moment, and this is definitely gonna be something that you can wear in the summer. So I'm gonna get this on skin, test out the longevity, see how it performs, really sink my teeth into the scent profile, and then I'll be doing a full review on this one, because so far, really enjoying this one. That's Lattafa's Lattafa Khusoosi. All right, so there you have it. That's 3 new Lattafas that I recently picked up from PerfumeOnline. Went 2 for 3 on this one. I'm on the fence about that Rouette Ijal. It's just not quite there for me, but love that Oud Sara, and I'm really surprised by that Khusoosi, if you didn't already tell that I was just a fresh Lattafa fragrance. Who would have thought? But I want to hear from you guys. What are some other Lattafa fragrances that are a little less known, I probably haven't heard of, or I've never reviewed, that you want to see me review? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gems, taste and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.